Hey guys, how you doing? It's Mike from Lumin Lights, and today we're doing a tutorial video on the Lumin Lights Slick Par 12 5-in-1 LED par can. Now if you look at this just from the outside, it looks pretty identical to our Slick Par Quad, which has 12 bulbs. And don't jump on me for saying bulbs. It's easier than saying 12 collections of 5 LCD chips or LED chips inside. So for simplicity's sake, let's just call these bulbs. This unit has the same 12 bulbs, but instead of 4 chips, 4 different color chips, it has 5. It has red, green, blue, white, and amber in each chip. 15 watts per bulb on this unit, as opposed to the Quad, the Slick Par Quad, which has 10 watts per bulb. So a little bit of a brighter output, and the amber and white colors are already separate bulbs, so you can just set them. You don't have to worry about color mixing if you're not really into DMX. Now looking at the back of the light, we have a lot of the same inputs and outputs, just like on our other fixtures. We have power in and power out. And before I move on, let me just say something about power linking units together, because some people don't quite understand that you can't link a lot of lights together. There's a fuse right here, a safety fuse, and if you get a screwdriver and put it on this little tab and pry it up, you can change the fuse if it ever blows. This is a 3 amp fuse. If you go over 3 amps, if you're pulling more power than 3 amps because you have too many lights linked together, the fuse will blow. The electricity goes through this fuse and to the next light, so on and so forth. If the fuse blows, this light no longer gets power. It's a way to protect the board inside, but also all the other lights will not get power because the power goes through the fuse. It doesn't just link in here and straight out. Again, that's a safety feature. And the way you figure out how many lights you can use, say for example, you're going to be using 100 watts per unit, per par can. This is a 3 amp fuse. So if you put 3 lights together, that's 300 watts, 100 watts per light. You move the decimal point 2 spots. So 300 watts, move the decimal point over to the left 2 times, you get 3. That gives you the amps. So 300 watts draws 3 amps of power. So if you were running the lights, whatever colors, and you're at 100 watts a piece, you can do no more than 3 lights power linked on one single line. If you want to do additional lines, you find an additional outlet, or if you have a power strip, let's say 6 plugs on the power strip, one plug would have 3 lights, the next plug would have 3 lights, so on and so forth. So power in and power out, DMX in, DMX out, and our 4-button LCD push-button display. And everything is labeled right here as well. You've got the first button is menu, next button is down, next button is up, and enter to save your settings. DMX out, DMX in, power out, power in. Now we're going to plug this in and show you the menus and how to operate this light in standalone manual mode, meaning you're not using a DMX controller or software, you're just using the light by itself. And let's zoom in here so you can see the display a little better. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit our menu button to get to the first item in the menus. Now you have several menus you can scroll through. Each time you press the menu button, as you see here, the display is changing to all the different menus that are available. And now within each menu, there are sub-menus in some of these menus. For example, address. That is to set the DMX starting address of this light if you're doing DMX. Hit enter, and you'll see A001 means address 1. If I want to change that, I use the up button or down arrow button. Let's set this to channel 2. Now to save that setting, you have to hit the enter button 2 times quickly. Enter, enter. Wait 15 seconds. Don't push any other buttons. Give it time to store the setting, and it will save that. Now if you're in a rush and you got to set up for a show, you can simply unplug the power plug, plug it back in again, and we'll save that setting. And now when I hit address and I hit enter, you'll see it's on address 2. I'm going to set this back to 1. Enter, enter. Now, I'm going to go to my next item after address. If you hit the menu button, it will back out of the sub-menu that you're in and go to the previous menu. And then when you're in the top menu, pressing menu again will advance you to the next menu item, which is CHND. Now that stands for the channel mode. The light, when being operated by DMX, meaning being controlled from a hardware controller or a software computer controller, has different channel modes. Each channel controls a different aspect of the light. So we hit enter to get into the submenu. You have a 12 channel mode, you have a 3 channel mode, and a 5 channel mode. 3 channel mode, channel 1 is going to be your master dimmer or brightness. From 0 to 255 the values are going to show up on your computer or your sliders on your control board. 0 meaning off, 255 being the brightest setting. Channel 2 is going to be a strobe function, so you can strobe the light. And channel 3 is pre-programmed colors, so all the different colors you would want are pre-programmed. If we go to the next DMX channel mode setting of 5 channels, you have DMX channel 1 is going to be red, 2 is going to be green, 3 is going to be blue, 4 is going to be amber, and 5 is going to be white. So it's as if you have the 5 individual colors, and if you have, say, a control board with sliders, each slider would control the brightness of each LED. Same thing if you're using a computer controller. So that's 5-channel mode. And then finally, and you can see all of these channel descriptions in your manual that comes with the light. There's a DMX chart on the second to last and last pages. And then finally, 12-channel mode. You have channel 1 is the brightness, channel 2 is the strobe, channel 3 is the dimmer. Channel 3 is red, the red dimmer, channel 4 is the green, channel 5 is blue, channel 6 is amber, channel 7 is white, channel 8 is mixed colors, preset mixed colors, channel 9 is the speed. If you want to make those colors jump from color to color, you can set the speed of how fast they jump. Channel 10 is going to be your color fade mode, and channel 11 is going to be how fast it fades from color to color, and channel 12 is your sound active mode. So that's the CHND. And now you see it just changed because I waited 15 seconds and I didn't save the setting, so it went back to its previous state. So that's CHND. So we've had address, CHND. Now we're going to hit menu and we're going to advance to the next item, which says SLND. This stands for the master slave mode. Hit enter. And you'll see right now it says NAST. Because of the LCD digits, we can't make an M, so it's an N. But that stands for master. Master means standalone mode. No DMX, nothing is controlling this light. It is independently operating by itself in whatever color or mode you set it to. If I want to change this, hit the up arrow button. Now we're in slave mode. If I want to save that, enter, enter. In slave mode, this light will not light up. As you can see, it's totally dark. The LEDs are not lit up because it is waiting for instructions via the DMX ports. It's waiting for instructions to tell it what to do. Now, if you're controlling your lights with a controller, whether it be a software controller or a hardware lighting board, I always suggest putting all your lights in slave mode. This way they will only listen to your controller. What happens is, especially if you're using wireless control, and if for any reason your power goes down for a second, somebody trips over a cord, and you lose your wireless DMX signal, the light, when it doesn't get a signal, if it's in master mode, it will go back into standalone mode, and it will start sending out its own signal. And if you have these wired together to another light, and this light starts sending out its own signal, it's going to start controlling all your other lights, and then the other lights are going to flicker because they're not going to know whether to listen to this light or listen to the controller when your signal finally does come back on. So if you put them into slave mode and you lose signal, the lights will just go dark. They won't start flickering or freaking out, which is a better thing to do. And then once you establish contact again with your controller, the lights will be back on. So again, we're back to address because I waited 15 seconds and went back to the beginning. Address, CHND to channel mode, SLND. I'm going to put this back in master mode. So I'm going to hit enter to go into the submenu. I'm going to use the up arrow button to go to master. Enter, enter 2 times. I don't want to wait 15 seconds for the sake of the time of this video, so I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to plug it back in again. And you're going to see the light is going to turn on, and it's going to show whatever previous setting I was in, which I was in manual mode. But the light is now on in standalone master mode. So let's go back to the next item. We've covered address, we've covered CHND channel mode, we've covered SLND master slave mode. Now for those of you operating the light in standalone mode with no DMX control, SHND is going to be very important to you because that's where all your pre-built functions are stored. SHND has submenus. Let's see what they are. Hit enter. You have a color submenu, you have a sound submenu, you have an auto submenu, a fade submenu, and back to color. Now each of these submenus, some of them have submenus under those menus. So let's go through it. Color, hit enter. Now I'll cover what NANU is in just a minute. We start off here with color 1, which is red, color 2 green, 3 is blue, so on and so forth. You got your first 6 colors, which are the individual LED chips on the light. So 1 is red, 2 is green, 3 is blue, 4 is amber, 5 is white. That's your 5-in-1 fixtures, the individual chips. 6 is a really deep amber. This is where we start mixing the different LED chips, and there are other pre-mixed colors all the way up to 15. You have 15 preset colors in this unit. When you press up one more time from color 15, you enter this NANU menu. That stands for manual. Again, we can't put an M because of the digits, so it's an N, but this is manual mode. Now, what manual mode does, hit enter. Manual mode is a user definable color. So say for example, I want to make the color purple. Well, when you hit enter on the we'll back up, NANU, hit enter, the first thing you see is R255. That stands for the red color is at 255, which is the brightest setting. So the reds are on at their brightest. So if we want to make purple, purple is a combination of red and blue. So we need to turn off all the other colors. So let's hit the up arrow button to advance to green. Now we don't want green to make purple, so hit enter. Now the green starts flashing. We're already at the top value, 255. If I go up one more time, it cycles back to the beginning. It'll turn the greens off. So there I go to 0, and I don't know if you saw this in the background, the light got a little dimmer because we lost our green LEDs. To save that, enter, enter. Now let's go to our next color, hit menu item, so the green stops flashing. Advance, blue. Well, we want blue to make color, so we're going to leave that alone. Hit the up arrow button again. Amber, we don't want amber. Hit enter so it starts flashing. Hit the up arrow button one time. Now the amber has been turned off, we're at 0. Enter, enter. Menu button to advance back. Hit the up arrow button again. U255, again because of the limitations of the LCD digits, that U is actually a white, a W. We don't want white to make purple, right? So we're going to hit enter. We're going to go up 1 to turn that off. Enter, enter. Now that's saved. Back out of that. Now, if you look at the light, we only have on the blue and the red LEDs. And if you look at the color here, we've got purple, exactly what we wanted to. Now, say for example, you had a bride who has a swatch of material from her bridesmaid shoes, and it's a certain shade of pink, and she wants you to match that color exactly. And you're not doing DMX, you're doing standalone mode. Well, what you can do then, if pink is what you want, blue and red up at full is more of a purple, I would go into, oops, I went past it, color. I would go back into the NANU menu. Red, I would leave it full, but we want to bring the blues down to go from a purple to more of a pink. So I would advance, green is at 0, here's blue, hit enter, and then maybe I would start dialing down my blue until this starts to look, there we go, that looks more of a pink, it's kind of a deep pink. I'm going to go leave it a little lighter and hit enter. I'm at 89, enter, enter. Now if you look at this, we've got a pink color, and I've set that manually, and I've hit my enter 2 times. Now when I unplug this and I plug this back in again, it's going to come on in the NANU, or the manual mode, and it's already preset at that pink color that we just created. So the NANU mode in the color submenu, NANU is a submenu of color, that is your one user definable color where you can create any color you want and store it. All the other colors that are pre-built in the color submenu are still there where they should be. Red is still red, green, I'm going to save green. You see green is still at full. Even though we turned it off in the manual user definable color, it doesn't affect the other colors. So you still have all your pre-mixed colors available. So right now I'm going to go back into the MANU menu, and I'm going to set all my values back up to where they were. So let's go to green, enter, it's flashing. I'm going to go down 1, 255, enter, enter, and then I'm going to hit my menu. I'm going to go to blue, enter, and I'm going to put that back up to 255. And you see the light is getting brighter on my overall output. Enter, enter. And then I'm going to go to my amber, and I'm going to put that back to 255. Enter, enter. And then I'm going to go to my white and back to 255. And now everything is set. So that's our color menu. which is in the submenu of SHND. So I'm going to save this to red for now. Let's back out of this by hitting our menu button and advance back to color. Now color, again, remember this is a submenu of SHND. Now we're going to scroll to the next submenu of SHND, which is sound mode. That basically means when I hit enter, the light is going to change color and react to whatever sound it picks up. So if you got a DJ playing music, it may be picking up the bass drum and it's going to bounce to the beat. 90% of the people out there don't use sound active mode because it's not consistent, it's not steady. If the lights aren't linked up in master slave mode, this light may be blinking faster because it's closer to the music source, and the other lights won't be blinking as fast if they're further away. The numbers here when you hit enter on sound mode, there's 51, 52, 53. It's a sound sensitivity setting, but truthfully, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Any of these values will be fine. They're really not that more or less sensitive than each other. But again, that's sound active mode. Not really used that often. Occasionally somebody may use it if they're using just one or two of these, but for multiple setup, it's not really a practical setting. Moving on to our next setting in the SHND submenus, we have, as SHND, enter. We were on sound. The next thing is auto. Auto is where the light will jump. I'm going to hit enter. The light will jump from one color to the next, to the next, to the next. It'll snap. It won't fade. It'll just snap one color to the next. And when you hit enter on auto, you see this on the display, SP1. That's a submenu of auto. SP stands for speed, how fast it snaps from color to color. You have values from 1 to 8, 1 being the slowest, 8 being the fastest. If you see this now, the light is really going so fast it's almost flickering. And then I'll go back to 1, where you see the light changes about one color every second or so. So that's our auto menu. And the submenu is the speed, where you can adjust the speed. Let's hit menu to back out of that. We're back to auto. Hit the up arrow button again. The next menu item under SHND, remember these are submenus. The next submenu item is fade. Hit enter. Again, you see the speed, how fast do you want it to fade. Fade is a smooth, gradual transition from one color to the next. And as you can see here, we're fading from one color to the next. And if I increase the speed and bring it all the way up to 8, there's 7 right there, and there's 8. You can see that it fades very fast. Back to 1, it's going to be a nice, slow, gradual fade. Let's hit the menu button to back up out of this again. So that's our fade menu. The next item, we're back to color. There is no next item. So that's all the submenus under SHND. Color, sound, auto, and fade. So let's back out of SHND. Now we're going to hit menu again to advance to the next item in our menu, which is NADL. NADL stands for it's the overall brightness of the light. So say you mix a color, or you pick a pre-mixed color and it's a little too bright for the room. You want to dim it down. Well, basically we're at 255 right now. You can just lower this and it will dim all the LEDs. It's like a master fader or a master dimmer. And if you go all the way to 0, now we have no light at all. Now this is important to know too, because we've had customers call us up and say that the lights don't work, or they fooled around with the settings and now they can't get the light to light up and it doesn't work and they think the light is broken. And I usually get on the phone with them and I walk through the menus with them and I say, go to this menu and tell me what it says, and they say it says 0, and I say press the down button one time, and they do, and it goes to 255, and then the lights are working. So you gotta be careful if you have no light output at all. Either the light is in slave mode and not getting a signal, or you have the master dimmer set down to 0. So let's go to our next item after NADL is test. This is where you can test your individual LEDs to make sure that all colors are working. By hitting enter, it'll cycle through. Whoops, I just pulled my power plug out. I'm going to go back to test, and by hitting test, you'll see that you've got red, green, blue, amber, and white. It's cycling through all the colors to show you that all the LEDs are working. Okay, let's hit the menu button to back out of that again. And then our next item after test is, it says V11, or it looks like a U, but it's really a V11, and that stands for the version of the software. So this is software version 11. It doesn't really affect you. You don't need to really be concerned with that. We do software revisions from time to time to make improvements on the light or the pre-programmed colors. Next item up from that, we're back to address. So we've cycled through all the various functions of the light, the address, the channel mode, the master slave mode, the SHND menu, which has your submenus of color, sound, auto, and fade, and then our master dimmer menu, our test menu, and what version we're on. So that is the tutorial for our LuminLights Slick Par 12 5-in-1 LED par can. If you have any further questions or problems, please feel free to contact us at the website or phone number displayed in this video.